All right, I've got some great stocks to go over today, but I've also got some important questions to ask about the market. The first one being, is this a real rally or is this just a short squeeze? Because we've got some historic market data that showed that we had some very, very high short interest in the market right now. And so normally when the short interest gets that high, the market responds, people get trapped. It's a bear trap. And so because we were at elevated overbought levels, the bears piled in, they got trapped. We had some breakouts. We've moved much higher. But the question that leaves us with, is this actually a real bull rally or was this just a large short squeeze and it's time to begin to take profits? Well, I've got some commentary at the end, and I think looking at some of the different stocks I'm going to talk about today is also going to tell a story about potentially answering that question. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you guys for hitting the like. Don't miss out on my daily stock and crypto videos by hitting that subscribe button. As I was saying, when the short interest typically gets this high and the market has a nice strong rally, it is typically followed by market weakness. And so we need to begin to keep our eyes out for that, because the real big question is whether or not this rally is based on market fundamentals. And I think that ultimately, as we get to the end, I'm going to break down my answer for you guys, but I'll just give you a hint or a clue about it. I think that there are some stocks which have simply become exhausted and overbought, and we're going to see those run flat from this point forward. We're going to see strong profit taking in them, and then there's going to be others that are going to begin to catch up to them. And so we're going to have sort of a mixed bag. And so it's time to be careful and selective about what you invest in. I wanted to briefly talk about the bond yields. Bond yields have absolutely capitulated, and it's quite incredible because there are people who just signed 30-year mortgages above 8%, and just barely 1 or 2 days later, that same interest rate is now at 6%. And so this causes a lot of people to question what they're doing in the housing market. This last October, we had the lowest pending home sales on record. So I think as it relates to home sales, people are going to be asking the question, should they refinance? Should they hold off? If the Fed's going to begin to lower interest rates in 2024, then they should maybe wait 3 months, 6 months, 9 months and see how good of an interest rate they could get. And so I think there's going to be a pause. This could be deflationary for the economy because we're in a transition from one trend to the other, and we just got that pivot. And so I think the market's going to be digesting this news. Like I said to you yesterday, that this was good news, but the market had to digest it, and then we needed to give it a couple days so we could see what impact it would have on our favorite stock. But there is one thing that seems to be able to be said at this point that we're certain of, and that is, at the moment, the inflation story is over. But moving forward, we're going to need to get positive economic data to determine or to answer the next question: are we going to have a recession or are we going to have a soft landing in 2024? I think you're going to find moving forward that that's going to be the big question that's going to be before the market. Is it going to be a soft landing, a hard landing, or are we going to be heading into a recession? That has yet to be determined, because if inflation has come down this fast, it's because the economy may be slowing down. But we're not necessarily getting that in the data because this last Q3 GDP was pretty strong. Now, I have to cover something that happened in my yesterday's video. I provided you guys technicals on Dogecoin, but on every chart and throughout the entire presentation, I called it SHIB. Now, I mean, I don't know if I'm getting too much sun out here in Hawaii or what's going on, but first of all, I want to apologize. The technicals I gave in yesterday's video were not for Shiba Inu. They were for Dogecoin. Perhaps a little bit of the confusion is that I put an equal investment into both. I took a lump sum of money. I divided into both projects because I believe that both of them have yet to fully run. I believe that they're the last to typically respond to a big move up in Bitcoin. Bitcoin pulled back a little bit. I think it's still moving higher. We're seeing some of the miners continue to move higher, and I think ultimately, as that begins to cool off, you're going to see that the meme coins will have a rally still, and that's why I went ahead and began to invest in those right now. And so the technicals for yesterday were not on Shiba Inu, they were for Dogecoin. The bottom line of those technicals is that I bought in at 9 cents, and I intend to largely take profit somewhere between 14 to 16 cents. I'm very bullish on the meme coins right now, and that's your notice. So don't get left behind. Do your own due diligence and let me know if you think that the meme coins are going to have this rally that I'm expecting. Now we need to talk about Tesla, the absolute rocket ship that was Tesla. Now, guys, in every single video I've done in the last week, I've told you guys that I was buying the dip on Tesla and that I didn't believe that we were going to be going back to test the lows, but rather going to have to go up and test the highs. Today, we had an absolutely explosive move. I would say that the prediction or the risk of buying the dip on Tesla paid off 100%, and specifically on the calls that I've got, even the calls that I got into yesterday went up 117% and higher. I took profits at 117%. And the calls that I had bought for an expiration for 12/15 were up 697%. Guys, that worked out. Now, not everything worked out. Microsoft pulled back. We saw Amazon pulled back. Eli Lilly did not squeeze higher. They squeezed down. I'm going to give you guys some technicals for those here in just a minute. But Tesla made up for all of them, and I was able to cash in some huge profits. Let me know if you guys made some profits on Tesla as well. But let me just give you some fresh technicals on Tesla. We went up today $12 on roughly a 5% pop, but the volume increase in today's trading for Tesla was up 61% from typical trading. Now, above us right now, we came and we hit the wall of resistance that's at 250. I want to let you guys know that the 250 resistance is actually light resistance. So it's a light resistance, which means that it's quite possible that we'll push through it. My target for Tesla is $260. Now, I want you to be aware we're still in a choppy market, and if this were to pull back, I see support at $239. But at the moment, like I said, we're pushing higher to test the top of the range. Let me know how high you think Tesla's going. Did you take any profit? Are you going long from here? Let me know in the comment section. All right, let's cover Eli Lilly. So we knew that we had this opportunity that if we squeezed above 598 that we would really take off. 613 would happen almost immediately, and then from there we could go as high as 650. But every single time we've come up and touched that 598 zone, it's been rejected. It's actually had two strong rejections, and at this point it paid to get into puts on the level I gave you for a move below 583. We pushed all the way down today, and we're sitting above support at $573. And I would largely say that even though we could bounce tomorrow on this massive pullback, I think the direction at the moment seems to be set, and we're going to be looking for opportunities to go short down to $553 and $522. Because of the strong rejection that we got at 598, I see that we need to be looking to go to the short side and look for this to find support. Like Microsoft, which has had a huge run up, Eli Lilly looked as if people were locking in profits on this massive move up in this bullish environment. Now, it could be choppy. We might see some days that we're going to push to the upside, but largely, I think that the bigger move above 600 on Eli Lilly seems to have cooled off enough that I don't think that that's going to happen. And I'd love to hear from you, people who have traded Eli Lilly with me, if you think that I should be more bullish. At the moment, it seems to me the market's spoken. There's profit taking on Eli Lilly, and if we continue to move up, those may be the best opportunities to go short again. So let me know in the comment section. SoFi's been a massive winner for us today. My call options on SoFi were up 115%, and I kind of got into those late, so it wouldn't shock me if some of you guys are up 200, 300% on call options. Even if you bought the shares, you should be up nicely. Now, I want you to know that SoFi is at resistance, which also means that it's potentially at a breakout watch. I see resistance on SoFi right now at $9.75. If we get enough volume to push us above that $9.75 mark, then we're easily going to go to $11. But keep in mind that that's resistance, and SoFi has to prove that it can break above resistance. If you haven't gotten into SoFi, you want to look at areas of support which are closer to $8.80 and $8.40. At the moment, SoFi is testing the top of the range. It's had a beautiful run up. Let me know if you guys have been taking some profit on SoFi or if you're holding and going long. One of the reasons why we got into SoFi was for fundamental reasons, because we saw the CEO was loading up on his own shares between $6.50 and $7. And that typically is a sign that he believes it should go higher, and that was a great signal for us. But the technicals also told us to load up into SoFi. Let me know if you guys have enjoyed some profits on SoFi. Let's touch base briefly on APLD. Guys, today We hit the target that I gave you guys last week of $6.30. We actually went higher than that. We went all the way to $6.89 today, and it looks like we're still in a positive momentum. I'm going to give you guys where I would consider taking profit. I think that we could go as high as $7.20, but I think that we would see selling pressure come in at that point. Now, I don't believe that we're going to significantly go back and test the lower end of the range. I still think with APLD, we're moving to test the top of the range, and that move is not over. But I'll tell you guys where I see support if you're looking to get into it and you haven't been in it. If you're in it, I would continue to hold personally. I'm holding my shares and simply raising my stop loss. But if you were not in it, I would be patient and look for some form of a back test, possibly as low as $6.10 and more conservatively at $5.50. Right now, we're in an uptrend on APLD. Now, another huge winner that we hit the target that I gave you guys last week was XLRE. Now, this was a buy below $36.60, and I told you guys that we were going to come up and hit $40, and we hit that. The targets were between 38 and 40, and today we realized those targets, and I'm going to tell you guys that we're going to see a lot of selling pressure on XLRE at $41 to $42, but this is still extremely oversold on a longer time frame, and so even though I believe that we could pull back once we hit 41 or maybe even as high as $42, we could pull back to $37. I would consider it still a strong buy because I believe that the worst case scenario for XLRE is behind it, and we're going to continue in an uptrend over the next 3 months. So keep your eye on XLRE. Now, brief commentary on Amazon. I don't think that the push up for Amazon is over. The candle that we got today was bullish for me. We're simply in choppy waters on Amazon. We did get 2 rejections at 149, and so you need to be careful here because this has run up quite a bit. But Amazon is still fighting its way up, and I think we're going to get a touch somewhere north of $150 pretty soon. So keep Amazon on your radar. In my mind, Amazon is one of those stocks similar to Tesla that I believe is worth buying the dip, but you want to do it strategically. Let me just give you guys a little commentary on these markets. We saw some serious buying volume today, i.e. that's why I gave you guys the video title yesterday, Buy, Break Out, because that's what the market was going to do today. $17 billion worth of shares traded hands today. Now, we want to take a minute and recognize that when a number like that is achieved, one of the next things that we need to be looking for is what's called buyer's exhaustion. It's when the bull stampede begins to slow down, and we at that point could begin to see some high profit taking. Personally, I believe that the market did that with Eli Lilly, and companies like Microsoft suffered some high profit taking, high volume selling into the push up. And that's an early signal that these markets may be turning around, and are at least these early runners and these fast runners, the moves getting digested, and there's some profit taking happening on the table. There are still some stocks out there that are worth buying the dip, and because they've yet to hit their peak, they're simply running on a different timeline than some of the other big techs. Apple made an all-time high. Microsoft was ahead of Apple, breaking its all-time high in recent days. And so it doesn't shock me that today we saw more profit taking with those two. Tesla was lagging the market, and so we saw it finally pushing up and touching the top, potentially touching the top of its range. I think there's still room for Tesla to move up, and I think there's still room for Amazon to move up. But be careful about long-term investing, because at this moment in big tech, the move has largely occurred from 2023. And in some big tech, we're going to see some sideways movement going all the way into the end of the year, if not some pullback. I'm going to be doing a big tech overview where I analyze all of the Magnificent 7 and possibly Magnificent 8, depending on whether you want to throw Netflix in there. I'm going to be doing that in an upcoming video. And I also have a deep dive on Bitcoin coming up. And the reason why I study Bitcoin and the time frames around Bitcoin is to help us with the miner stocks. And I'm still getting a ton of questions, Josh, are the miners going to pull back? And the answer is yes. They are going to pull back. Bitcoin is going to pull back, but the question is to where. And so I'm going to study that and give you guys some updated opinions as to what I think the best price will be for those, and that's coming up soon. I'm on vacation, so I want everybody to know, please expect a little bit less from me. We saw with the SHIB Dogecoin fiasco yesterday that my mind isn't straight. I'm getting too much sun out here in Hawaii, but I'm still going to be connecting with you guys because I'm still trading these markets. I had a really nice profitable day today, and I want us to finish 2023 strong with as much money as we possibly can. And so I'm going to be continuing with the videos all the way until the end of this year, and I will be coming into the Discord as well. Guys, I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you for hitting the like. If you want to follow me along on my journey and follow me along on my trades and get my technical updates, you've got to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss the next update. I appreciate each and every one of you. Peace and blessings. Take care.